Hallelujah.
Wow. All right. Guess y'all can hear me. So we're gonna continue where we left off last week. Talk with my younger self, part two. Again, the target audience is some of the younger men in the assembly, but that doesn't mean that it's not something all of us can get some value out of. Again, this is just Uncle Mike talking. This ain't nobody special, so don't feel free to hold back. Give me the unadulterated truth on how you feel. Don't feel that there's a correct answer you have to give. Just be open and honest, so the conversation can be fruitful for everybody having it. Right? All right. So we do have some rules, however. So raise your hand, ask a question. Wait to be called on before you answer, because there are hands raised in the room as well as online. Please keep your comment or question on track with today's lesson. You will have 60 seconds to answer the question or make your statement. If you go past 60 seconds, Caleb will mute you. Remember, it's not personal. It's just to give enough time to finish the lesson. The lessons are recorded and must be kept within a certain amount of time. It is mixed with discussion to help build one another up. Please, no one person abuse the time. Those that are in the room, please use the microphone to speak. You will also have 60 seconds to answer a question. All comments or commentary in the room will be limited to 20 seconds. Next part. All right. Take the time to explain again that the lessons and the lessons thereafter are not based on any one individual, either in this assembly locally or in the assembly abroad. These lessons were not developed by myself alone. Yes, Yahuwah has something, if not all, to do with them. If the lessons hit certain points that you feel or believe have something to do with you, then all praise to the Father. Take that knowledge and apply it to the solution of your life. Don't take anything personal to the point that you missed the message that's being given in order to help solidify your salvation, because that's why we're here, right? All right. All right. So again, we talked about last week. There'll be 4 points we're going to talk about this month. Don't stress out. Poke my chest out. Weight on my shoulders brings the best out. And get it right, or you'll get left out. All right. All right. I didn't write that. Somebody wrote that for me. I stole it from him. All right. So from last week, unresolved stress can affect our decision making, and it can make us freeze and be unable to make a decision. It can cause us to be unable to make a wise decision, and we can also make a decision based on others' opinions, even if it is not the best decision, right? Is that something that we want to do? Anybody? Anyone? All right, sounds like a great way to make decisions to me, right? Okay. All right, so do not let stress cause you to worry to the point that you freeze up. Trust in Yah, the verses we went over last week. Philippians 4, 6 through 9, Matthew 6, 25, and Telahim 5, 22 verses 55, 22 verse 23. We also talked about not worrying about others' opinions and letting that factor in your decisions that cause you to doubt your decision, because the Yahuwah is who you're aiming to please, and that man's accusations don't matter, because Yahuwah is the focus, and that came from Romans 8, 28 verses 20 to 34. Again, if Yah's word is guiding us, then our confidence in him should be stronger than any stress, fear, or doubt. Those verses were John 14, 1 through 6, and Proverbs 12, 24 to 28. And we also spoke on this, character over opinion. So you want to make sure that you're building up your character so that you're not susceptible to relying on other people's opinions of you, right? Because opinions can cause you to make bad decisions, but your character will always cause you to make a solid decision, right? All right, let me ask you a question. Oh, Yahoo, you got a microphone here on the table? I'm gonna ask you a question. Who are you?
I'm the son of the Most High.
I am, I am a son of the Most High.
So am I.
Follower of, Yahuwah.
So am I.
I am. Who am I? That's a good question.
Oh, you can start right there.
All right.
Ah, you're in the room this week. Yahuwah said, "Who are you?"
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
So
my
am I.
name is Yahuwah said. That's not your name. That's my name.
No, my comment was first. Slow yourself down.
I'm just saying. You asked me who I was. I'll land with that for right now because I got just who I am.
That's terrible. Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to tell me actually who they are and not quote scriptures at me? Because what you're saying applies to all of us, but we're not all the same. So, Caleb, who are you?
I am Jen.
I saw Caleb first. Stay right there. Hold the mic. No, I saw you first. I called on you. I called your name first.
I am Caleb Ban Yasharal. Yeah, I am a follower of Yahusha,
So am I.
black belt. You're not that.
I'm not.
Yeah, game developer. I lead on integrity. I'm an integrous person. I'm not going to steal from you. You can trust me, and I will always do my best with whatever you give me.
Hallelujah.
Hi. My name is Jeanne Robertson, but y'all call me Amani. Yep. And I am in my character, I am a person who care about others. I am beautiful and wonderful made by what the Father say I am. He made me, and let's see what I have a gentle characteristic. I don't say too much, and I'm a yield on that.
Toda. Namana, what you got?
Shalom, my name is Naamana. Hebrewic name is Naamana. I'm humble, I'm meek. I'm a very giving, caring person, very honest person. I tend to feel things very emotionally, especially when I'm dealing with other people. I tend to feel what they're feeling. Just by looking at people, I can feel what they're feeling. I like learning. I have a sense of humor. I definitely love the Father, and I want to follow His ways. Overall, a very good woman. Hallelujah. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah, and I yield.
All right, Toda. All right, that's enough for that particular question. So I appreciate all the answers. One thing that stood out, hope you all were mindful of, we had one brother that kind of struggled to express who he was. I'm not saying he doesn't know, just had some struggle expressing it, right? And then some of us just kept it real generic, where I butted in and said, so am I, right? That really doesn't explain who you are. That applies to all of us, right? What makes each of us different, right? But then one thing that also stood out in hearing you all's answers, for the most part, again, no blanket statements, but for the most part, those that had a little more life experience, a little more wisdom, had an easier time explaining who they were. So that's why this is directed to my younger self, so that we can begin to develop these things and recognize our character earlier on in the process, all right? But Caleb, you did much better than the oct to your left. It's okay. Sorry. All right. So the overall message is focused on the guys, right? But we all can glean from it. But some things that the sisters can take away from what we spoke about last week. All right. All right. So we talked about stress last week, right? So the first thing I want the sisters to consider is to be his peace, right? When he comes home, give him a moment, pretty lengthy moment, not just 30 seconds. Give him about 30 minutes to an hour, right? To unwind when he comes in, right? Offer him words of encouragement. Let him know that you're excited that he's home. All right. Any man is worth having, right? They truly want you to live a stress-free life. But give him a time to decompress from that outside stress, right? Because if he's still dealing from the stress that he dealt with outside the house, is he going to be in the right place to deal with what's stressing inside the house? And then you're going to be unfulfilled, unsatisfied because he's not taking care of the house the way that you feel he should. But you play a role in that, right? If he didn't get that chance to decompress and switch his focus from one spot to the next, then it's not going to be as functional as it could, right? All right. Single sisters. There's not a man coming home every night, right? But you can still learn from the lesson. This one and the ones coming up. Be mindful of that man that you're desiring, right? What's going to be more important? His character, which is what we're going to talk about throughout the month, or what's on the outside, right? We're talking about stress. So that man that you're interested in, the man that's caught your attention, how is he at handling stress? Is he strong in that area? If he is, it's probably you want to give him some of your time and attention, right? But if you realize he's struggling in an area, you might want to get that resolved before you say, well, let me start pushing forward with this gentleman. It's an area he has to master for you to have the peace and the prosperity you need in your home. And again, you may even be the impetus for him to work on this, but don't just blindly go, he sure stresses out a lot. He's stressing me out, but I'm gonna look past that because he's cute. Don't do that, all right? Hey, them same muscles you're looking at be the same ones he popping you across your head with if you ain't paying attention, because he can't handle the stress. So again, the outside is not what we're working on. All right, so today, all right, I don't stress was last week. Poke my chest out. That's where we are today. So in the opposite of stressing, we have a little bravado to ourselves, right? Nothing wrong with a little bravado, right? Within reason. All right, so we're gonna start with a healthy sense of confidence, right? It will reduce some of the stress from the outside world. It also gives us the confidence that we need to make difficult or unpopular decisions, right? It will help us maintain our composure when others test us verbally. I'm not really concerned about what you're calling me if I'm confident who I am myself, right? It also makes us more effective leaders. People are more likely to follow you if you have confidence in yourself. You can't expect others to be confident in you if you don't have confidence in yourself, right? Think back, last week, what were some of the things we said were the primary functions of a man? It's an open question. Go ahead, Aki.
Responsibility.
Name me one of them, please.
Provisions for your family.
Provision, good answer. Go ahead.
Guard, protect.
Guard, protect, right? Good. Go ahead, Aki. Got you on, Dawood.
Yeah, making sure you have a sound mind.
Correct. Anything in the room? Okay, great. So all these are going to require a certain level of self-confidence to get these done, right? If this is an area where you're lacking or where you're weak or where you're perhaps overconfident in an unhealthy way, you're going to struggle in those areas, right? All right, so let's take a look at some scripture to support this, the idea of confidence, right? Hebrews 4:14 through 16. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Yahushua, the son of Elohim, let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who was tried in all respects as we are, apart from sin. Therefore, let us come boldly to the throne of favor in order to receive compassion and find favor for timely help. Moriah Sharoon, what's on your mind? Now I know the look you make when something strikes you. Share with me. No, that was your no, that's your thinking face. Whatever you're thinking right now, I'm coming back to you. I'm not letting you off the hook that easy. Just letting you know. All right. I want no part of that. No. So, if we can boldly approach the throne, what situation on earth could we possibly be afraid to approach? So we have access to the very creator of the universe, but something that I'm dealing with down here is going to stress me out. That I'm going to run from it. Doesn't really make much sense, right? But, however, boldly doesn't mean recklessly or arrogantly, right? You're not just going to walk up to him and say, Father, you said you're going to hear me. You're about to hear me out on this, right? You got to have a certain tact and humility when you approach him, right? Okay. All right. So let's look at that word boldly, right? It's outspokenness, frankness, bluntness, publicity, assurance, confidence, freely, openly, or plainly, right? So it's just like I asked you all to do at the top of the lesson. Just be open, be honest, right? Be plain with yourself. Don't worry about other people's opinions. Well, I got to say it this way because, be open with yourself. Don't hold back. Don't withdraw, right? Be upfront. All right. Yehoshua 1:1-9. And it came to be after the death of Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, that Yahuwah spoke to Yehoshua, son of Nun, the assistant of Moshe, saying, Moshe, my servant, is dead. So now arise, pass over the Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads, I have given you, as I spoke to Moshe. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun is your border. Verse 5. No man is going to stand before you all the days of your life. For as I was with Moshe, so I am with you. I do not fail you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you are to let this people inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, to guard to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid nor discouraged, for Yahuwah your Elohim is with you wherever you go. All right, so let's look a little deeper, verses 5 towards the end. It says, no man is going to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so I am with you. I will not fail you nor forsake you. So knowing this, I'm encouraging you to do what? To be strong and courageous. Going to verse 7. Only be strong and very courageous to guard to do according to all the Torah. Verse 9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid nor discouraged, for your Elohim is with you wherever you go. This is the charge he gave to this particular person. Is that something that we can carry with ourselves as well, though? I heard it came. Couple? All right. So they don't want to say, but we all agree that if we stick to the key in verse 7, then we can apply this to ourselves, right? You guess so? You sure? All right, great. All right. So he commanded us to be courageous, right? Was this a suggestion? He's telling us to do that, right? So we have to trust in him, right? He's telling him to endure, poke his chest out a little bit, have some confidence in the mission that he gave him, right? But is he supposed to be confident in himself? He's supposed to know that Yahuwah has his back, right? So where does our confidence come from? It comes from the same source, right? So is that source able to fail us, to let us down? We fail ourselves, right? But if we're doing it the right way, we're trusting in him, and we have that confidence to make those decisions, to guard, to lead, to protect, to provide, to make those wise decisions, to act. right? Again, notice the stipulation. It says guard the Torah, right? That's the courageous part. That doesn't mean like, oh man, I don't really know if this is going to work, so let me try it my way, right? We want to make sure that he's our source. Remember we talked about earlier when I was up here before, a just scale, right? It's going to balance itself out. This is the balance right here. I guard the Torah equals I can be confident. If I'm not guarding that Torah, then I shouldn't be overconfident that it's going to work out in my favor, right? But if I know that I am, then I shouldn't have anything to worry about. So again, we also have to keep our boldness even through the tough times, right? Through those stressful times. Stressful times are when we need that boldness the most, right? Everybody could be bold when stuff's going your way, right? Poke your chest out real big then, right? A little harder to do when things don't seem to be going your way. But we got to keep our composure through those times so we can be able to think clearly enough to discern the situation. Why are things not quite going my way, right? Is it a test? Is it a trial? Is it a correction, right? Because once I know which situation I'm in, then I can make that decision, right? Versus, oh, just woe is me, stuff's just happening to me, I must be a terrible person, then that confidence starts to wane a little bit. But if you can stay in the right place and understand what it is you're going through and why, then you can keep your confidence through that trial, through that test, or through that correction. Let's look at Mishlei 3:11 through 12. It says, my son, do not despise the discipline of Yahuwah, and do not loathe his reproof. For whom Yahuwah loves, he reproves, as a father the son whom he delights in. So you might be going through a situation, right? You might be in the midst of some discipline. Might not be too tough. But is he doing this to harm you, to hurt you? He's actually doing it for your benefit. So if you know that this moment that you find yourself in is for your benefit, then you should have the confidence that he's going to get you through it. He's not doing it to destroy you. He's actually doing it to build you up. So then you should be able to have confidence through the situation. Hebrews 10:35 to 38. It says, do not then lose your boldness, right? Because your boldness has a great reward. For you have need of endurance, so that when you have done the desire of Elohim, you receive the promise. For yet a little while, he who is coming shall come and shall not delay, but the righteous shall live by belief. But if anyone draws back, my being has no pleasure in him. Right? Does this seem that when you set out for a goal, you make a decision, are you going to quickly always see the result of that decision? No, right? You're going to have to do some what? Some waiting, some enduring, right? But again, why do we receive the promise? The end of 36. So you will receive the promise. What's it say before that? No, before. The microphone would be nice. I want to make sure they say the right thing first. Go ahead, Aki.
Do not then lose your boldness, which has a great reward.
Nope, 36.
For you have a need of endurance, so that when you have done the desire of Elohim, you receive the promise.
That's how you get the promise, right? Come on, if we can't figure out how to get the promise, are we going to get the promise? All right, now. All right, again, I don't do trick questions. I even pointed to where you're going to see it. All right? So that when you've done the desire of Elohim, then you receive the promise. We talked about that before. The desire of Elohim is what? Found in? Where do you find the desire of Yahuwah? Will, desire. Come on, y'all. Y'all speak English. Y'all know synonyms. Come on now. Michelle, what you got?
I delight to do your will, O my Elohim, and your Torah is within my heart.
The Torah is in your heart, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Come on now. Work with me here. Y'all know a synonym when y'all see one. Relax. All right. For yet a little while, he who is coming shall come and shall not delay, but the righteous shall live by belief. But if anyone draws back, my being has no pleasure in him. So when time, go ahead, Aki, what you got?
I think sometimes in some of these test trials and even correction, I think sometimes where it becomes stressful for some is they go to their brother or their sister versus them meditating on and seeing it from Yah's perspective, like what's going on with me. They want the fast answer. And so sometimes it may go through your brother, your sister. Now, if they give you the wrong information, then this trial or this test gets longer, because that's not what Yah was after. He's trying to communicate with the individual, but the individual is looking for these fast answers. And sometimes some of these tests and trials can also be towards brother to brother, sister to sister, brother to sister, whatever it is. And that could be something that they need to look into as well.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Aki. What you got?
How can you be certain if it is a trial, a test, or correction, or just you?
So usually when you're going through something, what would be the first thing you would do? So if you say the first thing I'm going to do is get on my knees or pray, I'm going to find this in the scripture. You're going to do certain steps first. Now, as you go through these things in your prayer, you're hoping to hear from the Father. So these are some steps. Other steps, obviously, is going to be, Father, can you reveal certain things? And so he begins to show you things. Or as you walk it out, he'll start to correct you as you're walking it out and say, that's not where you're going. And doors and things are not opening up for you for a reason. So sometimes it comes through the hearing of the Father.
Toda. Namana, what you got?
Shalom, Aki. And as we as we are going through these trials and tribulations, and as we go to the Father and ask for wisdom and guidance and why these things are happening to us, I think the most important things are waiting on Him to answer us, because He's going to show us what's going on. And I think patience is vitally important, because we want quick, fast answers. And I think the first thing we need to do is go to Him first before we go to anybody else. And I believe that's what the Father wants us to do. And I yield.
Toda. All right, let's stick on the matter of confidence, right? How many times have you asked Yahuwah to reveal something to you and you were a little shaky on the answer you got? You weren't confident on where that answer came from, right? And then what do you do then? That's when you start seeking your brother out, right? Because you weren't confident in the answer you got. But if you know that he heard you, why wouldn't you trust the answer, right? And again, a trial or a test isn't a bad thing. It's a process. We got to go through all of it, right? So sometimes you're not going to find it out right away. You got to go through the entire process and keep that confidence in him from the start of the trial all the way to the end. Correction, to me, is a little bit easier, right? When do I correct my children? When they mess up, right? So if you know you messed up, this is probably the correction, right? But if you're confident that you haven't done anything worthy of being corrected, then it's probably just a trial, right? Maury Dawu, go ahead. I'm coming to you next, okay?
Shalom, Aki.
Shalom.
A lot of times when we're going through these trials and tribulations, we're looking for an answer after we have heard, this is what the prophets and the prophetesses are for in the body of belief, to give us the affirmation, to give us the confirmation that we're for sure hearing from the Most High and not just hearing from ourselves.
Absolutely. If you have someone with that gift near you, you definitely want to make use of it.
All right. One thing I want you to remind of in tests and trials, you gonna fail sometimes. You might not pass that test on the first go, and that will have some type of put some stress on you, or maybe deflate your confidence a little bit, because you might have been overly confident, thinking I know it already, and you walk in it. So that's a learning thing. If you can accept that failure and take that failure as a stepping stone and not as, oh, I don't want nobody to know. Oh, everybody saw me fall down. But get up, get yourself off, and keep going. And the next time the trial comes up, you'll know exactly what to do because you've already gone through it one time before. So just keep that in mind.
Hallelujah, Toda. Absolutely. All right. Proverbs 3:13. We're going to end up at 28 eventually. So blessed is the man who has found wisdom and the man who gets understanding. For she is more precious than rubies, and all your delights are not comparable to her. Skipping down to 19. Yahuwah founded the earth by wisdom. He established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from your eyes. Watch over sound wisdom and discretion. Then they become life to your being and an adorning to your neck. Then you would walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble. When you lie down, you need not be afraid. You shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden dread, nor of the ruin of the wrong when it comes. For Yahuwah is at your side, and he shall guard your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it, when it is the power of your hand to do so. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I give it, when you have it with you. All right, so same spot, looking at 23. It says, then you will walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble. When you lie down, you're supposed to be terrified. Okay, just make sure y'all pay attention. So when you lie down, you need not be afraid. And when you lie down, your sleep shall be terrible. Your sleep shall be sweet, right? Be petrified of a sudden dread. Okay. Do not be afraid. Thank you for catching that slip up. Nor of the ruin of the wrong when it comes, for Yahuwah is at your side, and he shall guard your foot from being caught sometimes. Okay. So if we do what we're supposed to do and guard the things he mentioned at the top of the verse, we can trust in him that he's going to keep us, right? If we do what we're supposed to do and guard wisdom, right, we're supposed to trust in ourselves that we won't get caught. Okay, so we can't go, man, I did right, so you better do right by me. That's when you get that chest puffed out a little too far, right? All right, just checking. And then after all that, we have this confidence, right? And then he starts at 27 and 28. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it, when it is the power of your hand to do so. Be mindful, he says, from those that deserve it, right? Doesn't mean that you're supposed to be overly generous. But he says, do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I'll give it when you have it with you. So again, like we mentioned, if we stay wise via the Torah, we shall be safe and protected by Yahuwah, fearless and confident in some situations, in all situations. So again, I'm bold enough to approach the throne of my Creator. What else am I not bold enough to face? If I can face him, right? Let's look at 27, 28, right? He's telling us to do good in the moment. He says, don't worry that you won't regain what you lend, right? But how many of us have been afraid to do what's right out of a fear that we're going to lose something? Nah, I'm talking to everybody. I don't see no hands going up. That's terrible. All y'all lying to me. All y'all lying. All y'all have done this. I've done this. Everybody's done it, right? So why everybody hand ain't go up? Yeah. I ain't asked who nodded their head. I said who hand went up. So we're going to try this again. How many of us have been afraid to do what's right out of fear? Y'all just go sit there and lie to me. The only hands I want to go up are the hands in the room that keep lying to me. I want them hands to go up and stop playing with me. All right, let me take the last word off. Not fear of loss, but just out of fear, right? All of us have known we're supposed to do something right and haven't gone ahead and done it. We've all been guilty of that. Now, Mana, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. Go ahead, sis.
Ken Moray, soon to be Moray at Abba Yahuwah's will. Yeah, we've all done that because it's fear of rejection, fear of the outcome. We've all walked down that road. I've walked down that road too, and you ask why? Well, we're fear of the outcome. We're fearful, or I'm fearful of the outcome, or I may have been fearful of just rejection.
Toda, I appreciate that word. Maury, I'm coming to you in just a second. Keep your hand up. Rejection. Do confidence and rejection go together? I heard something in the back, but they didn't say in the microphone. Could you repeat that in the purple microphone sitting on your table, like 2 inches away from you? Go ahead.
Okay, you're saying the person who's receiving, does it go together for them? Is that what you're asking?
Can I be confident and afraid of rejection or hurt by rejection at the same time?
No, but you can receive rejection but still be confident because you're confident within yourself.
Exactly,
Not
exactly,
within
right?
yourself, you're confident with the Father's desire that you're fulfilling.
No, sometimes you're confident in yourself, like, you know, that sister over there, I'm gonna go holler. I'm confident. She might say no, but I'm still gonna go over there, right? I'm not saying, yo, please grant me favor with her because she's cute, right? I'm not doing all that. Like, she say no. I'm gonna, you know, it's all right. But the overall point is that when you have a certain level of confidence, you're not going to let fear of rejection, focus on the words you chose, which I liked. You're not going to let that stop you from doing what you need to do based on rejection, right? If you have a certain level of confidence, because that's today's topic. Maury Dawood, what you got?
Maury, I'm chuckling because you just proved your point when you asked those that are there to raise their hand. None of them raised their hand because of what you're just saying. And we all know that we're guilty of it. So it's like, you know, I just think that's fascinating. You just proved it.
Todaki. All right. So we talked about how confidence is a good thing, right? So then we also got to go a little deeper into an unhealthy sense of confidence, right? Often that time will manifest itself through pride, right? Pride can lead to poor decisions. Oh yeah. Can you think of a way that pride can lead to a poor decision? Say in the microphone, Mr. Oh yeah.
Say like the Kool-Aid man. Well, it's just like the example I gave with Pharaoh. You know, your pride is going to display what's in you for real. You know, it's really going to bring out the real you. And if that's not rooted in something that's good, then we're going to see that. That's one.
Good. All right. So let's focus on men and heads of houses, right? Say you own a home, and now you got something in the house that's broke. And you're like, oh yeah, I can figure that out by myself. I don't need to call nobody. I don't need to ask for help. I don't need an expert in this situation. I'll watch a 30-second YouTube video and I got this, right? That's probably not the best decision to make, right? You got a little overconfident in what you could do, and now a $500 repair is now a $5,000 mistake that you made. Now you're $4,500 in the hole. Is that a good way to provide? Is that a good way to protect what y'all have worked for? It's probably not good, right? There definitely will be some stress in the house after that, right? All right.
But like I said, that's what's in you. You think you can do it yourself. You know? Yeah, I don't need no help. I can do this all by myself, no matter what the cost is. See, that's another thing people don't take in consideration with pride, is the consequences behind it. Because you think that you can do it yourself instead of going to the source, it's a consequence that's going to come with that. Oh no.
All right, so overconfidence can cause you asking for help when you need it, right? None of us is an expert at everything. All of us are going to find something that we're going to come across that we just don't know how to do or don't know the answer for. So then we got to seek wise counsel for that, right? All right. So another thing is that pride can cause you to take offense unnecessarily and cause you to overreact. That's true. Ooh, I don't think you've answered a question for me like my last 3 lessons. I forgot that new rule. So say what's on your heart.
So what am I supposed to say? I was looking at the last one on the list.
That's what you're supposed to talk about, the last one on the list. So taking an offense unnecessarily and which would cause you to overreact. It hit you because you went, woo.
I had an experience like that where it was pride. Yah showed me later it was pride that caused me to take offense at something that happened, take offense at something unnecessarily. And then I stopped and questioned and I prayed about it. And then I realized it was just me overreacting. It was pride causing me to react that way. Doesn't matter about the other person involved. It was me. It was all me. And so it could have been an argument, but then I thought, well, no, I can't go back and, I can't argue with this person unnecessarily because I was the problem.
Hallelujah. That makes perfect sense. All right. So how many times have you been, let's take this way back. Nobody's done this recently, right? But you just were arguing with somebody, going back and forth, and you weren't winning this argument, right? Any athletes ever say, hey, we may not win the game, but we're going to win the fight? I can't win this argument, but I'm about to win this fight because my pride got in the way, right? I can't win the argument. So now what could have just been a simple miscommunication or disagreement, now my pride's in the way, and now I got to take it to another level that it doesn't need to go to, right? See, one hand in the front. Thank you for the hand. Snitch the microphone for me. Snitch, go ahead.
Most of the time, men do that over women. We'll fight over women in a minute.
Not me. I told you I can handle rejection.
No.
But never.
You like a woman, your boy says something about your woman, you'll fight over a woman. That's now. Now we talk about then. Young man.
Yes, it can happen that you could come a different way. You heard it, but you took it another way, and that will cause an argument. And I'm usually is the one that does that. I don't mind saying it, but at the end, I apologize for bringing it that way. And as he's a good person who can hear and understand, I'm forgiven.
Hallelujah. Go ahead, Aki.
Okay, same principle. What I'm saying is that I think sometimes someone may not define it as pride when, they take offense to something and they're taking offense to something that they didn't need to take offense to. So they overreact to something because they thought something or they assumed something. And whatever that assumption is, there's some type of, rather they may want to admit it or not, there's a hint of pride in it. Because, if someone's been beat down a lot, for an example, if it seems a certain way, if it looks a certain way, they just take it there. And then when they stop and reevaluate, then they recognize they've overreacted.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go a little bit in depth to that towards the end, but all 12 answers. So Yirmiyahu 17:7-8. It says, blessed is the man who trusts in Yahuwah and whose trust is Yahuwah. For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and does not see when heat comes. And his leaf shall be green, and in the year of drought he is not anxious, nor does he cease from yielding fruit. So who are we trusting in? So again, I joked around a little bit. We all joked around a little bit about the confidence that we have, right? But that confidence is not supposed to be based on you. Who are you trusting in? Who do you have your belief in? It has to be Yahuwah. When you start depending on yourself, it's not going to work. And the adversary is tricky, right? There's going to be this moment, something's going to come up. I'm not going to pray about it. I'm not going to ask for help. I'm just going to handle it. And it worked in my favor. So now he's going to bring another thing in front of you. I'm not going to pray about it. Not going to ask for wisdom. Handle it myself. And it works out for you, right? Because the adversary knows where to get you. He's going to help you puff that chest out a little too far. But you got to be mindful and be on the lookout for that, right? That you want to make sure that your trust isn't in yourself. You're not trusting in your flesh, your ability, right? Righteousness is filthy rags, right? You can't put your own righteousness on the line, right? The trust is in Yahuwah. If you stray from that, then you're going to get that unhealthy confidence. That's not going to work for you. All right. There's no reason for us to have pride at all. 1 John 5:13-15. I have written this to you who believe in the name of the Son of Elohim, so that you know that you possess everlasting life, and so that you believe in the name of the Son of Elohim. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, he hears us. If we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we asked of him. So who is the boldness in? It's not in us, right? That's real straightforward. We're asking, who's going to hear us? We want him to hear us, right? We're not trying to figure this out by ourselves. We're depending on him. The moment we get overconfident, start depending and relying on ourselves, we're going to mess up every time. So yes, I want us to all develop a sense of confidence, right? But a healthy sense, not a sense of arrogance, right? Good.
I think sometimes there's in trust, there's a real thin line between certain things. Like if I say, do I trust my Isha? Does the Isha trust her Ish? Do I trust my brother? Do I trust my sister? Right? And so, but if I say, are we supposed to trust man? Oh, no. Absolutely not, right? So then the understanding then should be is I trust that man in Yah. I trust that he's going to do the right thing in Yahuwah, versus saying I'm just trusting this man. Now he can display all the characteristics of what you're looking for, but at the end of the day, that characteristic should be based from somewhere, and this is why you're trusting in him, in that particular person.
Hello, y'all. Just to land back on that, trust is based on a standard, right? There's a certain goal that you got to reach, and again, that goal is Yahuwah. That trust is Yahuwah. He's the standard, right? All right, some things to consider. Of the following situations that come up, is it going to be an example of a healthy confidence or unhealthy pride? So, how do we respond when our spouses are upset? Are we determined to prove ourselves right? How many times have we reacted out of pride? So when your spouse is upset, y'all are going back and forth, it can last all evening if none of y'all decides to just acquiesce. So one thing I like to say about when I'm mentoring others for work that want to go into leadership, if you're taking a leadership role and you need everybody to like you, leadership ain't for you. Because eventually you're going to have multiple people come to you with great ideas, but you can't pick all of them. You might find yourself in a situation where neither one of you is technically wrong, but somebody has to make the final call, right? But if no one wants to concede, y'all could be arguing all night. If your only goal when you guys are communicating is to win, is that healthy pride or is that healthy confidence? Or excuse me, unhealthy pride, or is that confidence? If your only goal is to try to win. Excuse me, I corrected myself, I'm sorry. It's a healthy dose of pride you got there. Go ahead, Aki, you got your hand up.
Unhealthy pride.
But again, I don't need answers for this one. It's a rhetorical question. But how many times have we found ourselves in that situation and we reacted totally out of pride? It was all about, I'm going to win this. I say it's rhetorical and people want to put their hand up. I'm asking people to put their hand up and nobody want to put a hand up. What's going on around here? You know? But Toda, for your willingness to share that with us and be open with us, that your pride didn't stop you from admitting that. So Toda for that. All right. How many of us have difficulty admitting when we're wrong and or difficulty going back to apologize? Hey, we've got this skill mastered according to everybody in the room. That's great.
No, I don't.
What you got for us?
I mean, I know that when I have said something wrong, and I'm looking, I'm trying to reason it out, and when I stop trying to have a conversation and just shut myself down, and I go and think about it. And I know, and when I think about it, I do get an answer from the Father. He always say, "You wrong. Apologize."
That's not always an easy thing, right? Some of us are good at one area, but not the other. We can admit when we're wrong, but the saying sorry part, we're not very good at, right? Some people can admit when they're wrong. It takes them forever, but when they finally do, they got no problem saying I'm sorry, right? So if you find yourself in this particular spot, is that the healthy level of confidence you want to have when you can't apologize or admit that you're wrong? It's pretty terrible, right? It's not a good spot to be. How many of us, Maury, what you got?
Maury, I want to ask you, what if you the person in a relationship, you always the one saying sorry, but the other person never says sorry?
In that particular situation, that I can only speak for myself. That's just my level of confidence. Like I don't need your apology. Like I'm not going to base myself, especially when I know it's not coming. I'm not going to let the fact that I don't have an apology irk me, because I know that's something you struggle with. If I know this is an area you struggle, that's not going to stop me from apologizing. I'm going to do what I know is the right thing to do. I'm going to apologize every time that I'm wrong, whether you're that type or not, because I'm accountable for my character. I'm not going to let somebody else's behavior affect my character. And I'm not saying by any way that it's easy, but you got to realize that if this person 100 times has not apologized yet, 101, you still sitting up all night waiting for the apology.
Don't do it.
That's probably on you. Not you particular, Dawood, just saying the example.
But also the thing is, if the person is always apologizing, in other words, let's say it's not, sometimes what did that person do to, in other words, they say, hey, okay, I admit I did it, but how bad was it that that person did it? You see me? Like they could receive it a different way. And then for that person, they can say, oh, this apology, for them at that moment, they're not feeling it, A. But B, the reason why they're not feeling it is because what was said or however strong those things were. But at the end of the day, the person that's apologizing, the question becomes, when they apologize or say they're sorry, do they walk out why they said it, why, the fullness of it for the person to receive it from that. But once they've done that, then it's no longer on them. It's on that other person. So they should be able to walk away with saying, I've done everything that the word tells me to do. I'm sorry, I apologize. These are the things that I did that I should not have done. And since I did these things to you, this is why I'm sharing with you. I'm 100% wrong. And then from there, it's left to that person.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than a half-hearted apology or an apology just because. You got to resolve the issue, right? A person can apologize, but they haven't really resolved the issue. The issue's going to come up again. Go ahead, Kiki. I'm coming to you in a second.
Like sometimes you're dealing with someone and you go to them and you tell them like, oh, this bothered me. You try to do it in like a respectful or communicative way. And then they say like, if they don't want to apologize, they say like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. It's like they don't ever take the accountability for it, but they're still saying, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So like, is that a pride thing too?
You say, it bothered me. You would have to go into how that bothered you. You see, in other words, if you're wanting this to be understood, that person doesn't know why it bothered you. you know, and they say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, because they don't, if they're saying, I don't know why, because it's really vague, just it bothered me. So you have to go into the details of it to clean that wound out, and then proper healing can take place from there.
Aria, go ahead, please.
I just, I'm a person, for me, is usually not really an issue to say sorry. And I believe that oftentimes that maybe in a conflict between two people, both did wrong. And it happened to me that I would say sorry, but the other person wouldn't. And then this would maybe happen a couple of times. And then the person feels like, oh, you were always wrong because you said sorry about these things. So that's sometimes like that was an issue for me, that because I say sorry, it looks like that I'm just all wrong and you don't say sorry and you think you're doing everything right. And that would be an issue for me sometimes. So I don't know what you have to say to that.
Well, in some cases, both people can be wrong, and then both people would owe someone an apology. But again, you can't let their lack of an apology be the reason that you don't give one yourself. If you were wrong in a situation, even if the person was wrong too, you have to be culpable for your own wrong. So you still have to give that apology. But again, if you know that other person's wrong, I mean, I don't need you to tell me you was wrong. I knew you was wrong when you did it. Go ahead, Aki.
Should you still tell the person like, I was wrong and I'm sorry for my mistakes, but you still did this and this and this wrong, or should you just keep your wrong?
The second part of that nullifies the apology.
Yep. Yeah, you're trying to cushion that thing.
Yeah, you just simply apologize for your part. Now you can tell them, I'm apologizing for my part. I still feel that what you did was wrong. So they can understand it once you said it though, but you can't make your apology hinging on them, and you can't try to deflect, well, I did this because you did that. Like either you're sorry or you're not. But you have every right to let them know what they did that was wrong. But you can't, keep going back and forth on the tit for tat.
Okay, that's actually what I meant. Like I can still let them know what they did wrong, even though I apologize for my wrong.
Right, but you remember also there are a couple of other factors you're going to have to take into that. It depends on the situation, A, but B is going to be, some of it just need mediation. Some people if both people just can't see it, mediation or a counsel or something will be an intervention there and be able to resolve that. Other times, there's a time where you just need to accept if you're apologizing for you just do yours. And then at later time, you come back and revisit that, but to do it all at the same time, sometimes that's not good. Just depends on what it is. If it's really bad, then that person takes care of it then. But and then when things start to level off and the person, okay, you know what, I accept your apology, I appreciate it. And then you say, okay, I'm still a little hurt about certain things though, because this, and this, and I just want your thoughts on that, meaning that person should be able to see, well, you know what, I did hurt and I was wrong as well. And so now let me apologize. And then that person can apologize. Let's just say it could be within the same day or within a couple of days. But I'm saying you don't want to do it in a way that it seems like this apology is this, but now I need to tell you you're wrong too. So you need to apologize too, because then that portion of it is going to create more problems.
No, Shandu, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing too, when you when you're dealing with these situations, if you can kind of like think about how other people feel as well too, like kind of putting yourself in their shoes as well, that will give you better control, of dealing with your pride. If you kind of put yourself in that person's shoes as well, because sometimes when we get into these arguments, like you said before, we want to win, right? But you got to put yourself into other people's shoes and help this, because they, maybe you can think the way they're thinking and how that upset them, just to go a little deeper into it,
Todaki. Maury Dawood, I saw a hand, and then Travis and Essence will come to you after Dawood.
Respectfully to the Morays, I just want to know where in Scripture do we find a father being apologetic? You know, and I think that probably would even help me get a better understanding of this whole concept of being sorry.
You said a father or me a father?
No, the Most High, the Heavenly
Oh,
Father.
okay, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, there are a couple places where he relents and says certain things, but the difference is that when we do it, we come with the pride. Yah doesn't come with the pride. So if the standard, if you want to say it that way, is Yahuwah is not man. So when we go through something with brothers and sisters or spouses and things like that, we are in our emotions and feelings and flesh and everything else, whereas Yahuwah is not. So, and on top of that, him being who he is, knowing the infinite being, but I started to give you a couple of scriptures where he talks about him relenting from certain things after certain things were done. But I think that what you're asking is in specific of Yahuwah asking for forgiveness. I'm saying is, think about it. Think about man. Man is we're evil from our what? Now we say, is Yah evil? No. So there's a difference between what Yah does and what we do. So we have to subject our flesh and humble ourselves, where that's not the area of Yah. Yah doesn't have to do that part.
Toda.
Does he, if I don't know if I'm forgetting, does he apologize when he floods the earth? He doesn't apologize? He just said he was grieved. He just said that he wouldn't do it again. Okay.
Travis and Essence. I don't know whose question, Travis or Essence, but you guys are up.
Essence. Also, just to answer a question on when someone else is not apologizing and things, that's where trust in our Father does come in. You have to trust that, again, he has your best interest at heart. So especially in a union, he will speak to that spouse for you if they are truly receiving of him as well. So you don't have to be the one to tell them to, recognize their wrongs. He will put that on their spirit as well. He will allow them to see who they are, just as he will let you see who you are. And I yield.
Toda. Kanal, what you got?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna reiterate what she said. It all boils down to you just doing your part. You shouldn't have to worry about the other person because you have your own self to take accountability for. Yeah, well, you need to get rid of pride, okay? So you don't have to worry. You don't. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to tell the other person what they've done wrong. If you are apologizing, then you're supposed to be doing this wholeheartedly. Isn't that something you always talked about? Are you doing this wholeheartedly? Or are you just doing it to go through the motions? Are you just doing it because you think that this is what the Father wants to hear? Yeah. If that's the case, then why are you doing it in the first place? And you still shouldn't be thinking about the other person because now you still got that inside your head too. So none of it's going to work out. All right? Do it for yourself. Do it because you want to take accountability for yourself, not for somebody else. Let them deal with what they have to deal with. And you deal with yours.
All right. We can go on for that for quite some time. So how many of us can recognize when we're in above our heads and can seek counsel and guidance either through prayer or through other people? How many of us are able to do that? I hope I see more hands than that. Okay. All right. So that's a healthy confidence, right? I'm not worried that this person's going to think less of me. I'm going to go get the help that I need, right? Okay. Now, Mana, go ahead.
Oh, it's because
Did you raise your hand?
I can't. I was just raising my hand.
Okay.
to
All
your
right.
question.
Perfect. How many of us are willing to stand by the consequences of our righteous decisions? that's going to require a certain level of confidence in yourself, right? So when you make a righteous decision, you're trusting in Yahuwah, right? He's going to have your back. The moment that you start stepping away from righteousness because you're worried about others, this just never going to work out for you. So another reason we might do this, right? How many of us are people pleasers? And that doesn't mean that, I in my character, I just like to see others happy. I'm a helpful person, right? The caveat is on the end. You're willing to compromise your personal standards to make others happy. Now, there's sometimes that you can't say, no, if you got a whatever. I'm not saying there's in a healthy relationship is always compromise, right? But you're not going to compromise your standards and your morals to make other people happy. You're just not going to do it. I don't care who asked for it. Spouse, child, mother, father. You got to be able to tell anybody no if no is the warranted answer. There's no exceptions to the rule. And you have to have the confidence to do that. If you can't, you can get yourself in trouble. All right. How many of us are easily triggered by words? You're triggered not only by what they said, but you're triggered by who said it. You can say that to me, but you better not talk to me that way. I need to see the hands. I need to hear the stories. They just lie to me, bro. I don't understand. I got my regular clothes on. I got my baseball cap on. I'm just a regular guy today. Why y'all lying to me? Y'all lying to Unc. I don't understand. Man, they just lying. Just lying. No, y'all know me. I'm not gonna do that. All right. Now, I'm gonna put a little context to this, right? Some of us, again, personally, sometimes I think that the trauma word is thrown out a little too often, but some of us have legit traumas. And words can affect us, right? That's something that we got to work through. It's a process, right? But we shouldn't be to the point where we're triggered by who said it. Oh, you can say that to me, but you can't. I'm Morey Mikael. You can't tell me that. I wish I would, right? Can't be that way. Or a brother could tell me that, but a sister better not never tell me nothing. Can't be that way. Cannot be that way.
But you got 1, 2, 3, right? Questions. So they may not be by that, but they might be by the others, correct?
Absolutely.
So too many people raise their hand on that deal.
I
yield.
It's just lie to Unc Day. It's all right. It's all right. The Father knows their heart. All right, so again, if you're a respecter of persons or you feel that this group can correct me, but this group can, or whether by gender, whether by title, whether by rank, that's unhealthy pride. You do not want to be there. You're going to find yourself in a bad spot. All right. The power of whatever. This is for those that are easily triggered, those that like to argue, things of that nature, right? Learn to let them be wrong. Everything is not worth arguing over. Everything's not worth getting a debate about. If I'm confident in myself, I will just let you be wrong. I'm not going to argue with you. If I'm confident in what I know about that matter, why do I want to get myself in these debates over and over and over again, especially with someone who's clearly not listening, or they're just not getting the point? Maybe I'm just going to plant a seed, somebody else is going to water, but I'm not going back and forth with you over and over and over again. You didn't get it. How do you not get it? It's just not that person's time, right? Just learn to let them be wrong. It's okay. But we get stuck in our pride. I'm gonna be the one that's going to get them to see it this way. You're going to see it my way or else. Don't do that. It's a waste of time. Learn to let them win, or let them believe they won. I don't care. You think you won? Okay, good night. I'm going to sleep good tonight. It's okay. All right. Learn to say whatever, man. Whatever, sis. The power of whatever. Like, I'm not getting in these debates back and forth with you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not going to let you cause me to get out of character. My character is all that I have. I told you last week, opinions don't matter to me, but my character is extremely important to me because it's what I use to guide my entire existence. It's okay. Whatever, man. Whatever, sis. It's all good. We got a hand in front.
Hold on a second. So this reminds me of something I saw online where it was two hippos arguing about something they saw in the water. One was saying it was an alligator and the other was saying it was a log. So they kept going back and forth, and the one that said, no, it's an alligator, see? And he jumped on top of it, and then the alligator ate him. So then you see the other one say, okay, it's an alligator. Then another hippo walks, no, it's a log. And they go back and forth again, and it's just a repeating process. The alligator's getting full. So it's just, I thought it was funny.
I just literally had this conversation with someone very recently. I'm like, I'll be talking or just listening, and in my mind I want to say something, but then I start telling myself, I recently started telling myself, is this worth me saying? Is it worth me saying? I got to choose my battle here, or is this worth? It's not worth. What used to happen when I did that, I would then go back and forth with myself later on, like I should have said this, and I should have said that, and I should. And I'm learning recently, very recently, I was having this conversation. Is it worth me saying? And I said that I'll say that to myself and choose not to say it.
Hello, yeah. Moridawu. Moridawu, what you got?
A lot of times the proof of burden is on you if you believe that you're right. And sometimes what people don't hear you say, you have to let them feel what you're saying. So, that's another approach to when you're dealing with that, instead of get into a long, drawn out debate.
That's an approach, or I could just walk away. I'm just not getting, you don't have to feel me, you don't have to hear me. I'm perfectly fine with the situation, right? But like you said, sometimes you gotta walk away, let them see it a different way. Absolutely, right? All this debating back and forth and having to prove yourself, it's not always worth it. Any questions or comments? All right, I'm gonna leave you with this one to meditate on this week. Yirmiyahu 29:11. For I know the plans I am planning for you, declares Yahuwah, plans of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and an expectancy. And you shall seek me and shall find me when you search for me with all your heart. And I shall be found by you, declares Yahuwah, and I shall turn back your captivity and shall gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, declares Yahuwah, and I shall bring you back to the place from which I have exiled you. Just another something to meditate on to give you that confidence in Yahuwah. All right. I yield.
Ashlika, Aki, Toda Rabah for the lesson. I really do appreciate it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, all hearts and minds clear. Baruch Hashem Abi Yahuwah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Toda Rabah Abi Yahuwah for the lesson that you have given us, and help us to operate in humility, operate in meekness, to see the things that we have done wrong, Abi Yahuwah, and to walk in that and to be quick to apologize. Though we do struggle with pride, arrogance, and things like this, remove those things far from us so that we can be doers of your word and not just hearers. We thank you for the confidence that you have given us in you, in Mashiach Yahusha, in your word. Continue to show us your way and to walk in it and to fill us with your Ruach. In the name of Yahusha, thank you for the food we're about to receive and the nourishment of our bodies and the hands that prepared it. Amen.